Hi, my name is Jennifer Amagolik. I'm from Iqaluit, Nunavut. I'm going to be reading a bit of the TRC report. My apologies for anyone's name I mispronounce. I'll get right into it. So, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada was established in 2008 under the terms of the Indian Residential School Settlement Agreement. The Commission was mandated to reveal the Canadians' complex truth about the history and ongoing legacy of the church-run residential schools, in a manner that fully documents the individuals and collective harms perpetrated against Aboriginal peoples and honors the resilience and courage of former students, their families, communities, and guide and inspire a process of truth and healing towards reconciliation with Aboriginal families and between Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people communities, churches, governments, and Canadians generally. The process was to work to renew relationships on a basis of inclusion, mutual understanding, and respect. More specifically, the Commission was required to hold 7 national events, to gather documents and statements about residential schools and their legacy, to fund truth and reconciliation events at community level, to recommend commemoration initiatives to the federal government for funding, to set up research centers that will permanently house the Commission's records and documents, which the parties were obligated to provide to the Commission, thereby establishing a living legacy of the Commission's report, and to issue a report with recommendations. 3 commissioners were appointed in 2008, the Honorable Justice Harry Laforme as chair, Jane Bruin-Morley and Claudette Dumont-Smith. They resigned shortly after being appointed and new commissioners were appointed. The current commissioners, the Honorable Justice Marie Sinclair as chair, and Chief Wilton Littlechild and Dr. Marie Wilson were appointed to replace them in 2009 by the parties to the settlement agreement. An Indian Residential School Survivor Committee provided advice and support to the Commission. Its members included John Banks Island, Inuvialuit from Northwest Territories, John Morrisseau, Métis from Grand Rapids, Manitoba, Eugene Arkand, Cree from Muskeg First Nation, Saskatchewan, Madeleine Bazil, a member of the Atikomiku Nation from Wamotaki, Quebec, Loti Mae Johnson, Mi'kmaq from Eskasoni, Nova Scotia, Rebecca Uche-Williams, Inuk from Nunavut, Doris Young, Cree from The Pass, Manitoba, Barney Williams, Ta'i Sim-Chilth, New Cha Holnuth from Tal'okia First Nations on Mears Island, British Columbia, Gordon Williams from the Penguis First Nations in Manitoba, now residing in Ontario, and Kukduka Terry Brown from the Tahltan Nation in British Columbia. Raymond Arkin from a former chief of Alexander First Nation near Edmonton, Alberta, served on the Survivors Committee until his death in November 2009. The Commission received continuing support throughout its mandate from the parties to the settlement agreement. Regular all-party meetings were held to discuss opportunities and challenges that arose in fulfilling the Commission's goals. The Commission worked on parties to address topics such as document collection, communications, public education, and survivor travel support for completion of the Commission's work. Representatives of the parties also took part in working groups at the national and local levels to support the Commission in planning and implementing its national and regional events. The Commission established its head office in Winnipeg, Manitoba, retained a small Ottawa office, and opened satellite offices in Vancouver, British Columbia, Hobbema, Alberta, and Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. In recognition of the unique cultures of the Inuit and their experiences and the impacts of residential schools on them, the Commission also established an Inuit subcommission. 7 regional liaison officers were hired in advice from the IRSSC and were assigned responsibility to work in the following regions: Quebec and Atlantic Canada, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, and Yukon, and the Northwest Territories. Thank you.